Hair's growing out funky again, so. Sometime, get the hats. So, how's everybody doing tonight? Anybody's here? I never know. Let's see. Alright. Well, it is Thirsty Thursday. A little bigger here. Jameson and Coke. And it is a strong one. But at least it's a little cup. Dig through the ditches and burn through the witches and slam. I think I fixed the goal thing going on there. So that's good. I had that messed up for a while. I got it fixed, I think. Knuckle crack the bones, funny wonder when. Alright, we're gonna need to touch that real quick. Love how you cry, devil on my back, I can never die. Just burn through the witches and slam in the back of my Dragula. Dig through the ditches and burn through the witches and slam in the back of my Dragula. Do it, baby. Do it, baby. Do it, baby. I gotta check to see if I'm allowed with the Philly Art Collective to bring my own alcohol. I mean, they're gonna have wine there. I'm kind of a whiskey drinker. So admittedly, I might accidentally anger my cousins. Not that I'm opposed to what they bring, it's just I don't have any. But my cousins, the Malloys, which is on it's my father's side, my grandmother's family. They're from the area where Tullamore Dew is made. You know, where it originates from, or whatever. And so they like to drink that at like parties and stuff. But I just don't have any, so I'd have to bring my Jameson. Has got me locked in its cage. You got to let this.
have some Maker's Mark too. I could bring that. It's Jameson in the cup here, though. Lights on the riverside. We'll never say goodbye, no, no. Lights on the riverside. So put your head in the water. Put your head in the water. Put your soul in the water. Go with me for a swim tonight. Let's try and constantly baptized. We are dry, but it's to wait for life to sit. To swim all over again, yeah, because pain lies on the rivers. Pain lies on the riverside. So put your feet in the water. Put your head in the water. Put your soul in the water. Join me for a swim tonight. To swim. Show me where the event responses come from. Put your soul in the water. Join me for a swim tonight. For a swim tonight.
the end of the stream could be very entertaining. So I won't lie, I feel like crap. And I don't mean like I feel like I'm getting sick or anything. I just feel like crap. It's bad time of year, getting funky. I feel like there's a lot of pressure on this coming pop-up show. Like, I gotta do something. Like, I gotta try to sell something. Gotta start getting some wins. I'm not coming here. I'm thinking I might actually be killing this channel very shortly. Not that anybody gives a shit, because literally it's just me. I'm gonna try to switch this over back either to Facebook Live or to YouTube and try it there. Cause I ain't getting shit here. I think just my friends don't have a fucking clue on how this works or something, so they don't come in to check it out ever. Or I think Instagram Live has like limitations on how long you can go, so it'll only be like 15-minute intervals or something. Plus, that's not really growing either, so I don't know what to do. The roof is on fire. The roof is on fire. The roof is on fire. We don't need no water, let the motherfucker burn. Burn, motherfucker, burn. I'm not in school like junior high. See you make it out. You'll come into Uranus. I would stick it where the sun don't shine. Always stroking my own rookie. The root of all that's evil, yeah, but you can call me Cookie. The roof is on fire. The roof is on fire. The roof is on fire. We don't need no water, let the motherfucker burn. Burn, motherfucker, burn. Going to heaven, but if I go to hell, I hope I'll burn well. It's broke, Kurt Cobain, Emmanuel Lewis, because he's the Antichrist. The roof is on fire. The roof is on fire. The roof is on fire. We don't need no water, let the motherfucker burn. Burn, motherfucker, burn. Care. Come on, party people. Everybody say hello. Come on, party people. Everybody, here we go. Come on, party people. I know everybody remembers. Not everybody, but I mean, there's do remember Bloodhound Gang. Tend to remember the Bad Touch. You and me, baby, ain't nothing but mountains. The first song I heard from them was "Kiss Me Where It Smells Funny," and I was wondering why they wrote a song about New Jersey. So much better than sitting here. Chick's digging. I am a patient boy. I wait. Summertime is out of the rain. Everybody move in. Please don't make me to remain in the waiting room. Send them out of town. Everybody going down because they can't get out. And I sent him by. I'm buying a big surprise. I'm gonna fight for what I wanna be. And I won't make the same mistakes, cause not much time that waste. Fortune is the key. Everybody going down because they can't get out. Because they can't get out. individual, don't you speak. I wanna go play hide and seek. I wanna go and bounce the moon just like a toy balloon. You and I are just like a couple of tots running across a meadow, picking up lots of forget-me-nots. You make me feel so young. You make me feel the songs to be sung, bells to be rung, a wonderful fling to be fun. Oh, it's off. I'm gonna feel the way I do today, 'cause you make me feel so young. You make me feel so young. You make me feel so spring has sprung. And every time I see you grin, I'm such a happy individual. That you speak. I wanna go and play hide and seek. I wanna go and bounce the moon just like a toy balloon. You and I. Sure, Primus. Primo 5G? Oh wait, that's fine. Oh. Make sure you're on mute. Thank you as well, Nosebleed. Thank you. I'll take lurks. That's alright with me. It's very vital to rock around. It's back on time. It's tricky. It's tricky to rock around. To rock around. That's right on time. It's tricky. It's tricky, 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 tricky. Went to her house and bust her out. I had to leave real early. It's really sleazy. What did it say? It's pleased me. I said time to rock around. That's not that easy. It's tricky, 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 tricky. It's tricky to rock around, to rock around. That's right on time. It's tricky. I really hope we just rock. Have no time. I gotta remember to call up my buddy Aronde because he owes me a print of one of his. He did a painting of Run DMC. It's a really nice one. It's kind of caricature-ish. I think but it's a really good portrait of him. And he had a GoFundMe or whatever to help get some stuff overseas for a show. I donated to it. He said they'd give me a print. And I said, I want that print. I haven't gotten that print yet. I'll call him out on that. Because I was talking about going to visit him one time. Just never got around to it. So, it's my fault too. All of my time. Thanks, Net. You're not done, are you? Or you guys, I've been trying to pop in there. It's just the last one. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's a little newer technique. I've really done this like weird patterning before, so it's going slower than I want it to, but it's because I'd rather know what I'm doing first. It's only the second time I've ever done this, so. You are so on your own. Got lots of dope, but we just leave it alone. It's Thirsty Thursday here for me. Wait, before this it. Wait. I'm a Big X, thank you very much for the follow. Much appreciated. I hope you like our local Mr. Pierre Robert. Giving that little announcement there. Philly's very own Pierre Robert. Did this thing update properly? Okay, it did update properly. So I didn't fuck it up this time. Alright, good. Last time I didn't register anybody. So I think I got it working now. It's a little rough for my mother.
Can't get it. Let me bring it in closer. I did that last night. I forgot to bring it closer. I know sometimes it just becomes a close-up shot of the back of my head, but that's still something better. I think I'm gonna put back the this camera back onto the palette. Just seems like it would make more sense. I figure I'm gonna do is do like I did last night. Paint, you know, what I'm doing here until it's either done or until it's 10 o'clock, or not 10 o'clock, sorry, till 9 o'clock. And then from 9 to 10, after I give my kids kisses goodnight, we'll Nathan, I don't know if you can hear me, if you're lurking still or not, but I gotta ask you about the Wasteland Mafia Discord, because I've been having issues on trying to get in there. I tried the rules thing where it says like I had to put question mark accept, but I don't know where to put it because it's not letting me do it in the rules thing, so I don't know where I gotta throw it. I'm blocked out of like, at least on the app, and like the actual app on my phone, I'm blocked out from literally like every discussion group. I can't type anything. Even in general discussion, I'm blocked out from it. I'm like, funny, I every now and then, like I like to make lists of things for myself, basically on like Amazon. Not necessarily that I really have any intention on buying these things, but more like, okay, you know, if all things worked out perfectly for me, you know, and this, that, or the other thing. Like, okay, if I can say sell some paintings on this show on Saturday, okay, you know, I guess I should mention that if I have some people. I have a show coming up. If you're in the Philadelphia region or anywhere kind of relatively close and you feel like making a drive, there's a pop-up show at the Philadelphia. It's a Philly art collectives gallery on 253 North 3rd Street. Don't go to 3 North 53rd Street. But anyway, there's one. Anyway, I guess it must be 69th Street. Anyway, rambling. The whiskey's starting to hit. The it's from 6 to 9 on Saturday night. Hopefully the storm is not as bad as the storms could be. I'm saying it looks like it's gonna blow past us, but I'm just hoping. Not fucking lying. And but anyway, so it's $10 at the door to get into the thing. There's like free wine now once you're in there, so just drink $10 worth of wine. There's gonna be music. Obviously, the art's gonna be up there. Art will be for sale. I have some posters I'm gonna be trying to sell too, along with the art. Yada. But anyway, so I made up like a list of stuff. I was like, that I would like to. There's things like I would like to buy, and there's like how much does it cost, and then could I, if I sold literally everything at the painting, afford to buy it, along with other shit that I would want to get. And I'm like, all right, let me look at this. Like, can I reach up here? Ugh. Like, I love this tube of paint. Okay, like that. Fucking love this tube. It's the only one I got. My cousin got it for, like, he bought it for a painting class. Didn't really use it at all and gave it to me. So I was like, all right, let me try it out, right? And it's like a really cool. And actually, what I like about it is it's made with beeswax, so it actually like works as like an antifungal thing for your painting years later. So you can actually like help preserve your painting by using that shit now, you know? So I was like, I like the paint. I'd like to try more from the brand. But once you start looking at things like cobalt blue, excuse me, I gotta get this fucker out. I think I just created life. Anyway, the like the cobalt blue is like $88 or some shit like that. Like it's crazy for a 200 milliliter tube. It's wildly expensive. So I was like, all right, let me go through this. Like, what would it cost to get the full 200 milliliter tube set of these paints? So on Amazon, found everything I could, and then I clicked total in my Excel spreadsheet, and it was like $1,300. I was like, oh, fuck that! Jeez. I mean, there's a few I would like to buy. Colors that I don't find necessarily in my Wintons that'd be worth a. Actually, am I calling off? I had noise. Yes, it is. Talk to myself. You know, it's like, yeah, that's not gonna fly very well. Not certainly to the wife. Hey dear, I'd like to spend $1,200 on tubes of paint. Most of the colors I can get elsewhere for cheaper. But it says beeswax. I don't think I should buy for that. I mean, we do generally have a rule that whatever is from painting sales goes back to painting and or streaming at this point. But there's other stuff I was like, I gotta get this thing taken care of, I gotta get that thing taken care of. So if I were to sell anything, it's pretty much those things first, then supplies. And I'm not necessarily hurting for things. It was just like, well, what would if I wanted to like do the whole set? How much would it cost? I hit that total button. I was like, holy shit, motherfucker. And that reason alone, though, kiddies, is why I usually tell my kids not to try to take art as a career or even like that heavy of a passion. It's like, artists get fucked in the bank account. That's why, like, I mean, I had some friends that, like, they were looking for commissions and stuff, and once I told them, like, my actual price, and I gave them friend pricing, which was still, I mean, it's not cheap, and, you know, I know they were like, oh, whoa, wait, you know, like, it's like, dude, you guys do not realize, like, my buddy Lou did pay for me to do a commission of his house and a barn, which I did on here a while back, and yeah, it was $400 for the thing. But if you actually watch the stream, see how long it took, right? And just going on an hourly rate, of it. I think it boiled down to like my if I was just being paid by the hour, it boils down to something like well below minimum wage. I was like, I am a terrible negotiator. I'm a horrible businessman. Anybody out there who's good at selling artwork or whatever, let me know. Okay, I'll take a manager. Deal with all the business shit and I don't have to deal with it. God, I love that. Oh, fuck, I would love that. I got all excited because I saw a Facebook ad talking about like an art auction house that like they're like, even if you're just starting out, we'll sell you. I was like, oh, and then I started looking at the reviews. I went, ooh, fuck, not good. And I guess that's more on the buyer's side of things. So I don't know if I can really use that per se. But you figure if the gallery or the auction house is fucking over their buyers, they're probably gonna fuck over the artists too. Just general rule of thumb. Depression is it touching my soul? Feeling sweet blue drops from my fingers. I don't know if my lurkers are listening or not, but I will hit you in the feels if you're listening right now. Because it hit me yesterday. It hit me a little bit yesterday. It really hit me today when I was like, oh, no, that's going to happen. Which was, yesterday I played a little bit of the Spider-Man game on the PS4. And I got to the part, and it's not a spoiler, I don't think, because I've seen it on, like, fucking, like, gaming sites and shit long before this, but there's a Stan Lee cameo in it. Okay, I mean, duh. All right, and I won't say how, what the context of it is or whatever, but Stan pops up, and I was not emotionally prepared to hit that point. I knew it was coming. I knew pretty much almost exactly where it was in the game. I was not emotionally prepared to see Stan up there. Oh, I always love, I don't want to spoil the line in case you do want to play the game. But anyway, I figure I'm like one of the last people to start the game. But anyway, the thing that hit me though more recently was that I mean I did mention this last night. Sounds like I'm treading over these things, but like. Look, everyone who's seen Infinity War knows that the people who died in it are not going to stay dead. Not everybody at least. Let's put it that way. Not everybody at least. who's coming back, who's not, is the question, I guess, in the end. But the fact of the matter is, like, you know Spidey's coming back because there's a fucking Spider-Man movie coming out, and you know, so that's a given, you know. Pretty sure that's the reason why we have not seen that fucking trailer yet, is because Marvel's trying, like, desperately not to spoil the fact that he's gonna come back, even though, like, you're like, come on, we've made like all the money. But what occurred to me is that there's probably a Stan Lee cameo for Endgame. So you're going to have all these heroes coming back. And then you're going to see Stan. And you're going to realize he ain't coming back. And I just, like... That when it really hit me. I was like, oh my god, no! So sorry to bring everybody down with me on that one. But I'm going to be down here by myself. Yeah, I'll bring some people. No Amazon Music. Bad Amazon Music. I wish Amazon Music actually would occasionally shit so I could rub its nose in it. Because honestly, losing, like, calling my Echo Dot over here like a, you know, fucking con or whatever, like stuff like that, it's just losing its edge. I do appreciate it giving me the option to try to do my Samuel L. Jackson impression yesterday. It went off. I know there's lots of people that think, like, you know, like, yeah, the NSA uses this shit to listen to people or whatever, you know, they use the dots, they use the Google, whatever. And maybe they do. I don't know. Maybe Amazon themselves just sit there and listen to it, whatever it may be. But damn it all, man, they've got to be getting annoyed by mine, if they are, because it's incredibly mundane for the majority of the time, you know. It'll just be turning on the lights or whatever, you know, or turn off the lights, turn to this percentage, yada yada. And it'll be like every now and then my kids' last jokes from it or whatever. And then you'll get the parts where it triggers accidentally on me or whatever, especially in here. And I start screaming at it and cursing at it. And I'd like to be see the face of the dude listening in who's like, you know, hearing, you know, I won't say his name. Tell me a joke from like Sophia, and like, you know, turn on the lights to 50%. You know, all this like low volume stuff. Just, you motherfucker! Did I tell you no? So you guys gotta pull your fucking headphones out. Be entertaining to watch.
Records out. Mommy's alright. Daddy's alright.
Not that one. do gotta get back to work on the background music for this. And I promise it's coming. I know I've been saying it for months. I'm working on background music for the stream. I have some ideas of stuff I wanted to do. It's just a matter of putting it in practice, finding the time to do it. Right now I'm just focused on that pop-up show this weekend. Long December, and there's reason to believe maybe this year will be better than the last. Can't remember the last thing that she said that you would do. Days go by so fast, and it's one more day up in the canyon, and it's one more night in Hollywood. To think that I could be forgiven. Wish you would. Na 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 na. Na 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 na, yeah. Smell of hospitals in winter, and the feeling that it's all a lot of oysters and no pearls. Again, across the crowded room to see the way that light attaches to a girl. And it's one more day up in the canyon, and it's one more night in Hollywood. If you might come to California, think you should. I think one of the funniest things I ever heard was, as far as a sales pitch to move to California might be, was from Modest Yahoo. He went on the MMR's morning show, and they had gotten to know him actually a while back, actually. And he's not someone that they would normally play. It's just Modest's music isn't something they play on MMR. But Casey Boy from the show had gotten to like his music, and they got an opportunity to get a hold of him, and so they brought him in. And yeah, it was a cool interview and everything. And then they brought him back, and now he's been shaving. He's changed his look up a little bit. And he talked about moving to California, and he's like, I was trying to tell myself I'm a northeastern, dude. I'm it's cold. I'm used to cold. We're stronger, tougher than California, soft weather or whatever. He goes, and I moved out there, and he's like, this is so much better. So I guess that's a way to sell California's weather. It's so long since I've seen the ocean. Now, obviously, I'm assuming he's talking about LA. Still go to California and find fucking cold. You can also find fire. If there was a reason, it was you. Don't even think about getting inside. Voices in my head, voices, and I got scratches all over my arms, one for each day since I fell apart. I did what I had to do. If there was a reason, it was you. Footsteps in the hall, it was you. You. Whoa, whoa. Pictures on my chest, it was you. Was you. I did what I had to do. If there was a reason, there wasn't no reason but. And if there's something you'd like to do, oh, just let me continue to blame you. Pictures in the hall, it was you. You. Whoa, whoa. Pictures of my. Oh, it's about that time to go give the kids kisses goodnight. I'll be back out here in a few moments. Better start pounding this drink, shouldn't I? This is taking a lot longer than I thought it would. I honestly thought I'd be at least by episode 6 on the shoes. But again, I'm kind of melancholy is a little growing. Shit, it's just fucking nuts right now. That makes it harder to get through this on top of everything else, and it's experimental, so it's, do I do this right? Am I doing this right? You know, my brain's getting in the way of itself. See you. I really want to be with you. I really want to see you love, but it takes so long. My sweet love. My love. kids kisses. This is stuff. Let's finish up the last bit there. There's not that much left to do for the reds in there, so we'll just finish that up and then we'll start the put more of this other shit down. Alright, so give me let's see. I have to be back in 6 minutes, so we'll go silent.
Sorry, I'm not sure.
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing! Anyhow. Alright. forget my eating. I'm starving. I don't know why. Whiskey makes me hungry.
You never look so good. Living life just like I wish I could.
Already in the past.
Thank God. It's Judgment Day. The day all you can do is pray. Without hope, we might as well be blind. Yeah, be blind. Tomorrow comes a day too soon. Tomorrow comes a day too soon. Angel, sweet angel, my youth, where have you gone? You flew away too soon. But yonder's a higher road. So look on your fall. Once had it all. Said I left my home where the dead never rose. Streets of gold I've yet to find. And at the end of the day, all you can do is pray. Without hope, well, you might as well be blind. Yeah, be blind. Tomorrow comes a day too soon. Tomorrow comes a day too soon. Yet to rise. So I left my home where the dead never rose. The streets of gold I've yet to find. And at the end of the day,
Chicks dig it. Or booze. I think it's time for an increase in the meds because I literally said right before I left out, right? I was gonna come back in and do the rest of the reds, and then we'll worry about this stuff. But I'm getting tired of seeing all this yellow occur. I'm gonna use that as my excuse, and that was my ADD going. It's one of the weirdest challenges sometimes, having ADD and depression. Because, like, two things kind of happen. Right? First is, I may find myself, like, the situation starts triggering the depression. But I don't remember what it is, like, a few minutes later. Like, happened a lot, especially when I was going to therapy after my breakdown. Was, like, I'm going into the shrink and I'm trying to tell him why I was feeling like shit all the time, and you know, I could say like work, but I couldn't bring up anything specific. It was like, work's doing it to me. Well, why? I don't fucking know. Like, I can't tell what happened. I don't know. Like, I really don't remember at all. My boss has asked me about stuff too, so that's where, like, you know, now he works in Atlanta. It's weird having a boss that's not actually able to see you ever, you know. But anyway. Like, I got off a phone call, and it was UPS. I was trying to get a hold of, and I couldn't reach them. I kept trying their all the techniques I used to have to get past their, basically it's a call screener just to keep you away from ever reaching a customer service rep. And I thought I was past it, and then I get hung up on. Like, literally, I'd hear it ringing to the, we'll get you a representative, and it starts ringing, and then it clicked and hang up on me. And I was like, oh, and I just fucking snapped, right? After hanging up once, getting hung up on like 3 or 4 times by trying to reach this fucking thing. So I just started slamming my phone. Fuck! You know? And, because this customer that I was trying to do this for, by the way, they're complete pains in the asses. And now they're a white glove account. Now I have to give them extra attention. So I have to disappoint them in new ways, I guess, or something. I don't know. So I can't do shit for them right now. But anyway, I digress. But it's like the next day, so Jack Hall sits right next to me and reported it to him. And next day he calls up and he asks me about it. I'm like, I don't remember what happened. Like, you know, like, I just honestly did not remember it until, like, they had to start pushing me, and I'm like, something happened with UPS, like, and I had to go through and, like, you know, 'cause it goes off me like that. It's like, boom, something happens and it's gone, you know? Like, I basically have to describe it, like, sometimes I have to explain to my wife, it's like, it's a hard reset. It's every day I walk in there, and it's like, you know, this place is just so bad for me that it takes no time till I'm feeling like absolute shit. And it'll be crappy, like I'll feel like shit when I'm leaving there. But for the most part, 9 times out of 10, I'm fine by the end of the night. You know, I might have something I'll bitch about here or something. Just a little bit, but it's like, that feeling generally is gone, whatever it was. But then, like I said, like, you could ask me about what happened today. It's like, oh, I don't know. So I talked to people, and they yelled at me, and, you know, I almost yelled back a couple times. So it's one of these weird little moments. Like I said, like, I'll end up feeling depressed, and I won't remember what it was. Because the ADD and the depression, like, don't like each other at all. It's so hard to fucking get. There's a lot of whiskey in there. I may not show that much, but that's a lot of whiskey in there. Look at my Instagram to see how much I poured in there. In the story. There's a good amount of whiskey in there. Now the plus, I guess, you know, where it goes the other way in a little bit, is where like the ADD kicks in when I do know why I'm feeling down, and little things start kicking in, and it's like the ADD kicks in, like, oh yeah, you know what? I know you're thinking about like, you know, some really dark thoughts, but here's a shiny object over here to distract you. Or maybe shiny wasn't the best choice, but it does sort of work like that. Like, like the other day, I was feeling like shit. I swear to God, this is right before the holidays. All right, like the depression was definitely starting to kick in, and I mean, I was like in the morning. I'm woken. I'm like, I just don't like it was a dark time, and then like I think it's a Geico commercial where the family is sitting around like the table. They're getting ready. They're trying to eat dinner, but they all have like vibrating chairs, so they're all like, right. Dude, NetDev, fucking thank you. Holy shit. Holy shit. 55 people. How many can I hold? Let's see. Not many, right? I know, this is pretty dull to watch. But if you guys are like excited from playing like a shit ton of marbles and shit, you can come down here and like, bleh. I was actually stoked. I looked at, you know, I won that first match I played today. Matalskis, thank you very much. Much obliged. You have no idea how much this helps. Like, I'm like on my way to. Right now, I'm just trying to hold that viewer thing for the pathway to affiliate, man, because I'm like right there. Like I'm at like 2.6, I think. Last I checked. Whoa, God, guys, thank you so much for all this love. Holy shit. Oh my God. Did anybody like the raid thing? I think. The little raid 1950s ad. There's a little story behind that one, as weird as it may sound, stupid as it may sound. Why I would be having a story behind a raid ad. That actually used to play, the Denny's we used to go to for whatever reason, had like this old loop of like 1950s like commercials and shit that would play. So there was like an old Brillo pad commercial. True Will 305, thank you very much. Much obliged. I appreciate this, guys. I really do. NetDev, thank you so much, man. Gussie 3503, thank you, thank you. If anybody's wondering who that is, that's Philadelphia's own Pierre Robert. Dan Grenade, thank you, thank you. Holy shit, guys. You guys. Oh, man. You just made my night. Thirsty Thursday, so guys. Salute. See, Cryptic. Thank you, thank you. Man, this is awesome, guys. I really do appreciate this. Wild Style Gaming. What's going on? How'd everybody do on marbles tonight? I got that one win, man. I was stoked. I was like huge. Oh, I am. Hey, you know what, dude? I appreciate literally every single one. I do. I really do, man. And like I said, all these people are awesome. But Brittany, thank you. Thank you very much. And I was like, but NetDev, I was like, This is six episodes, so it's like I guess about 12 hours now. This is a new technique. I explain this like whole thing with like the little choppy like shapes and all this shit. I've been just trying to build this recently, so this is my second real color experiment with it. I've done some drawings with it. It works really well in black and white. It's pretty quick to move along, but once it's getting into color, I don't know really how to play with it yet. So I'm still dragging ass with it to make sure that I like it, you know. So it's going a little slow, and I haven't even touched the shoes yet. Like the shoes will be a little more like my normal style. Give me a second. I'll try to give you guys a little hint of what that is. Come on, get up, undo it, you piece of shit. There we go. Like if you look up there, that ugly mug. I have my beard. Like so, it's kind of a similar thing where I'm doing the background in this funky style, and then I'll hit the main subject matter. This will sound a little weird, but my intention is I hope to get some of my friends' shoes too. Okay, not a foot fetish thing, but more like an idea of like, these are my old work shoes, and they're worn to shit. You can check the Discord there. There's a reference photo of it, and like they're worn to shit. Like these are holes in the heel and all that stuff. Like, and my idea behind it is like kind of like using shoes as like a portrait. In that sense, a little weird, but it comes off an old idea that a painting teacher back in like 98, 99 had told me about. He said he had a former student that was painting portraits. He called them portraits like that of his friends, but he was using their favorite alcoholic drink. So paint a martini for one friend, whatever. Paint Manhattans for another. Gin and tonics, whatever. Beers, obviously, and so I was like, that's a cool concept. And it's been sitting in my head for a long while, but I'm like, drinks are cool, but like if people are like me, I don't have a favorite drink. I have favorite types of drinks, but I don't have a favorite per se. It's usually just beer or whiskey of some nature, and I can tell you it's the whiskey and Coke. And but I was like, like shoes get worn to shit. Go see. Oh, dude, hold on. I got a lot of that one. Sorry. I don't know why that got blocked. I guess I do now. But, yeah, I don't know. I keep putting out the regular time. I'm trying for affiliate. I just want to, like NetDev was talking the other night about, people who like just want to get like the partner tag or whatever. It's like, I don't care about any of that shit. My only real goal, truth be told, is just to have, really just people here like tonight, like having you guys here to talk to. It's really fucking like so I'm not talking to myself. That's really my only goal here. It's just helpful not to. It gives me something to talk about. So. Yeah, I think that's true. I think that's definitely true, Net. It's like there's some people that really do really well on here, and I think there's some of it like I said, like Pink Epoxy, she's got great camera angle, and I can't get it. I wish I could figure out how to do her camera angle so I could like not block people when I'm like over here, like as I will. I'm terrible about it. I've been trying to look at her setup, and I don't quite. I have to figure out how big her canvases are too. I gotta ask her. But I do think there's a lot of cool artists on here that just don't get a lot of love. I think even like crafting's almost worse in some way than even art. My buddy, his name's Thesis Paradox on here. He does like really cool, kind of like everything crafting wise. He'll do like little lighting modules and shit that he uses for cosplay. He'll do, 3D printing, 3D printing, like X-Carve, that's what it is. He'll do cosplay stuff, he'll do little, like, assembly things, and it's really cool, but it's kind of a hard community to find, you know? Netta, by the way, I meant to ask you, what I think is my best. Oh, God. Hold on, let me see. See if I can pull one up. See if I can make this work. This didn't work last time. Copy that. Let me see if this will pull on it, drop in here. Put it here. Come on, how did I do this before? Put it in here. Alright, I'll get this out. Figure this out eventually. Alright, what are you doing? Shit, hold on. You know, I think I have to go into the actual photo. Open image in the tab. This is one that gets a lot of love. I don't know if you can say it's my best. It's the first one I did after I had a mental breakdown, and I hadn't been painting for a number of years. There we go. That'll work. There we go. It gets a lot of love because it's got a lot of color and stuff with it. Is it my best? I don't know. I know, like I said, that a lot of people dig it. I tend to hate my stuff like right after I finish it, so it's kind of weird. What else do I have that might be decent? Original art. Again. I like this one a lot. No, oops, shit, forgot. Let's back to the other page. So good with computers. Open image in the tab, not blank. I'm a big fan of this one, primarily because it's definitely an oddball. It's not loading. Why aren't you loading? I want to transition this. This might not work very well. No, it's not loading right. Okay, I'm gonna try this again. What the fuck? Copy image address. Did not work. Let's get rid of that one. Guess we're gonna remove that. Oh, it almost loaded a little more. You know, I'm gonna send the. I'll just do it this way. Just copy the link address. This is not working. Try that. It's not working on there. Let's get that out of the way. I like this one. It's called The Last Breath. It's actually after another artist, Josef Israels. It's a Dutch artist. Now the painting that he did, it's old school Dutch, so it's a lot of black, a lot of heavy dark colors. I don't use black in any of my paintings. I try to find like a mixture of brown and ultramarines. So it was like kind of a fun little game to try to make that thing work. This was a painting that it was hanging in the Philadelphia Museum of Art. Last time, well, actually, the last 3 visits I've had there, they have not had this up. I'm a little bummed because it was like, when I had my breakdown, my doctor, because I hadn't painted in 3 years, my doctor said, "You need to get back to art. Like you're literally killing yourself because of it. You need to. I'm literally prescribing you art. Like, so I mean, I knew I couldn't paint at the time when that first happened. Like, it was like Yeah, I had to get on meds and stuff first. But he said, you you gotta go to the museums. You gotta, like, whatever you gotta do, They put me on medical leave and shit from work. And, I went to the Museum of Art, Philadelphia Museum of Art, and this painting was hanging there. And it morbidly kind of saved my life in a weird way, because I was able to put my family in the place of this family, and it made it so I could see a little clearer, I guess is the way you put it. So I'm tied into that painting pretty heavily. It's actually, here, I'll show you guys it too. It's like, this is not going to show up as well because I turned off all the lights in the background here. Like, I keep it right here in the studio and up so I can see it. And that sucker took forever. It's basically the entire painting was painted with that. It's a double aught, like tiny little sucker. And whereas this is 16 by 20, that is 19 by 30. It's a little bigger. So it's it was a fight to get that one, but I'm glad I did it. I think we're Borderline Jenny? Oh, Genius, sorry. It's like my font's fucked up. I'll have to fix that. Borderline Genius, thank you very much for the follow, man. Much, much appreciated. NetDev, if you're here, by the way, still, it looks like you still are. You're still putting up, emojis. I got a question for you regarding the Wasteland Mafia Discord, because I was having some issues getting in there. At least on my phone last night. I was having. I know there's like a thing where you had to go into like the rules and click accept, or type question mark accept. But I couldn't. I couldn't type it anywhere. I was locked out of literally like every chat area, so I don't know where I'm supposed to type that. Is it supposed to be in that rules thing? Because it said like I couldn't type anything there. I'm missing up some comments. Z Cryptic, thank you very much. I missed that one. I was talking about all this junk. Because I've been I haven't made a post in a very long time. I didn't have. Kind of dropped Discord for a little while. I was like, there's stuff to learn here. I don't have time for it. But I've been trying to pick it up again. And figure out where everybody is and whatnot. Okay. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll see if I can screen capture my phone and show you, like everywhere I got locked out of. I was able to get to the general discussion from my computer today, but that was all I could, and like even that I got locked out right after I tried to hit the question mark accept in there. I'm like, this probably looks stupid to whoever's in there this morning, but I want to try to open it up. It's just right now I'm also like I mentioned, I think it's last night or it was 2 nights ago, right? I said I got an art show coming up. It's like a pop-up show here in Philly, and so it's a 3-hour event, but it's like it's still like got to go through all the process of being an art show. So I've got to I had to print up labels and shit, and I'm still working on I had posters I want to sell, but they're numbered. They're it's a limited run, so I want to, and they're hand numbered. So I'm just going through all that shit, and it's like, oh god, I'm going through all this right now, trying to get that all taken care of. I still got to create all the stuff in the Square app, I can sell this stuff if anybody wants to buy a painting while I'm there. It's my first time showing with this group, to this Philly Art Collective, so I'm a little nervous. Of course, I may have a bunch of cousins coming, so they may be okay with me there. That's the... It's a good Irish family, so there's like, 30 cousins. If anybody gets annoyed by the Japanese garden sounds, just let me know. I can switch up to like something else, a little more, like thunderstorms or something like that. I don't like to do music live through there, like real music, because I export everything to YouTube, and last time I did it, I got banned in every country. So, I told YouTube to mute everything, like literally just have an entire muted video. They're like, no. I'm working on stuff. I've been trying to write music that I'll eventually replace this. I just want to make sure I have like an hour's worth before I subject everybody to it, so at least it'll loop a little less noticeably, I guess. Right now I only have about 8 minutes. So. How'd everybody do in marbles tonight, huh? Anybody share a feeling from that devs? How many wins we got? I saw I was up to 6, right? Did I catch that right? I might have missed one when I played a few and then like I was walking down the steps, so I put my phone in my pocket. But last I saw I was up to 6, which was pretty good. Or 5. Was it 5 and 60 or 6 and whatever it was? I was actually like, whoa. do hope one day that this technique catches up a little faster to me. Like, it's a good technique. Like, I like the looks of it. Like now, once these are done, you know, I think this area here, like, that's pretty much set too. They remind me a lot, like, I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with the Toynbee tiles. There's a bunch of them here in Philly. They're starting to go away though, because they've been doing, like, you know, they do road work and then they go away. But they, it's kind of like, it reminds me of, like, the fractured look those have when they get embedded into the ground. If you're not familiar with those things, look those up. They're fucked up. They're kind of cool. I mean, it's the ramblings of, like, some, like, either it's someone who's just, like, wildly paranoid, or it's just somebody who wanted to make something that sounds wildly paranoid. It's hard to tell. But it reminds me of those, or there's also a house down on South Street here in Philly that, it's, and a lot of people thought this guy was the guy behind the Toynbee tiles. But they, like the whole side of the fucking building, it's all, like, he's got a whole garden area or whatever that's, like, all, like, crazy art stuff. But the whole side of the building you can see, because the garden area is all fenced off, you have to, like, peek through little pinholes or whatever. But the building's covered in, like, mirror and tile and all sorts of craziness, and a big sunshiny flying thing around it. And the guy pretty much works exclusively in tiles like that. So that's why a lot of people thought he was the one behind the Toynbee tiles. But he's regularly denied it, so I don't know if that means anything really, because it's not like the cops are looking for, you know, it's just been journalists kind of going, hey, what, did you do these? And he's like, no. But it's a neat technique in how they get, you know, how they get embedded into the asphalt. Somebody caught one being made one night. They had whoever did it was driving around a Volkswagen Bug. They must have a hole cut out in their floor, because they drive up. The person saw this Bug stop. It's like 3 a.m. Bug just stops in the middle of the road, sits there for a few moments, and takes off. And the guy said he saw, like, a lump thing there, and he's like, "What the fuck is that?" So he goes and he looks at it, and he realizes it's Toynbee tile underneath of some tar paper. So the way the guy was, you know, whoever it is that does this, put the tar paper, they put the Toynbee tile down, they put the tar paper on it, and then as people were driving over it the next day, you know, it just starts plowing into the asphalt. Meanwhile, it's also picking up a little bit of that tar paper, and that's all going with it. So it starts making it so that the tile comes out. That's why these things always, if you're familiar with them, they seem to pop up overnight, or, you know, like out of nowhere. And that's why. It's because it's a really neat way they got it, you know, kind of guerrilla artwork.
No, it's okay. I don't want it. So, you know, figure it out. No, I don't want to. Just keep bugging me.
And Torque and Poker, thank you very and Torque and Poker, thank you very much. That's an awesome name. I always like to know people, if you don't mind, if you don't want to tell me, that's fine. But I always like, when I see a weird name like that, it's cool. I'm not trying to say it's weird, but like, I hope that comes out right. I fuck up things like that a lot. Like, I'd like to know what the story is, if you don't mind. Like my online handle of Menaceart is kind of stupid. My buddy and I we both worked for Sprint PCS in one of the slowest stores in the country, and when they closed the store down, you know, they shit canned us all because they blamed us at first. They thought we just couldn't sell phones. Turns out when you don't have towers in the area, they don't, you know, people can't use their phones in the area they live in. They don't want to have their phones. But anyway, that came out later once they realized, oh, it wasn't the staff. But anyway, so we both got shit canned. We were both in the comics, so I was like, hey, you know, like, I had this old character from, like, when I was, like, 11 years old. You want to, like, maybe try to revamp him a little bit? The character was called Phantom Cop. He's, again, I was 11 years old when I made him. And, so let's revamp him a little bit. So we started working, and we were brainstorming, and, like, we went off, all right, Phantom, what can we do with a Phantom? And we were spitting out all sorts of stupid stuff. And at one point, the words Phantom Menace, because that had just, you know, didn't just come out. I mean, it had been out for a while, but like we were like, Phantom Menace, let's work with Menace. All right, so we named the comic Menace, right? And we were gonna make this comic called Menace, and we had done some pages and stuff, but I was the artist behind it. He was the writer, so I was Menaceart, and he was Menaceart. But he was also big into the racing community, so he already had like kind of a known online handle, and he's always stuck with that one. Mine just, I never really had one, so I became known everywhere as Menaceart as we were trying to promote the damn thing. And I just kept it all these years later, even though I don't really try to draw comics anymore. I did draw Menace recently. Hold on, I'll show you that. Where'd I put it? Hold on, I don't remember where I left it. Menace. Hey, boy. Hey, maybe he's not that easy to find. Shit, I don't remember where I put him. Go to my Instagram, it's on there, I guess. I don't know what to tell you. It's in that link down there. Shit, I really don't know what I do with him. I actually drew Menace versus Phantom Cop the other day for, it was like for the end of the year. I was like, I didn't want to start a new painting. So I started doing a sketch.
People skills, but he's good with motors. That weird thing by his side, an infantilized sequoia. Won't buy, people say, oh boy. A baby into battle. It's really irresponsible in getting them round. Get off my back, damn it. I didn't learn parenting, my daddy was a planet. Zandu Hasselfrau, Zandu Hasselfrau. Old stories, they keep us alive. Without our past, we would never survive. I am my island. My island is me. So you know what you can do if you don't like what you see. Kiss me, I'm Irish.
It does say in my description there, guys. Nobody's talking. It's your punishment. You gotta listen to me sing. It'll get worse as I get drunker.
And I love to dance. So if you're feeling as lucky as me, take a chance and kiss me, I'm Irish. My heart beats a jig, and me blooded won't scream. I've been a rogue, a rambler, from ocean to sea. And I like a bevy now and then, that I'll never deny. But I only drink on the days of the week that end with a Y. I'm no saint, I'm no sinner. Oh, that there's no doubt. To tell you the truth, I am the one that your grandmother warned you about. Kiss me, I'm Irish. I am the wild rover. My eyes, they are smiling, and I'm seldom sober. I like my whiskey, and I love to dance. So if you're feeling as lucky as me, take a chance and kiss me, I'm Irish. Chicago and New York. Sing with me. Kiss me, I'm Irish. I am the wild rover. My eyes, they are smiling, and I'm seldom sober. I like my whiskey, and I love to dance.
It just occurred to me. I literally forgot I had my hat on. Is my hat confusing anybody, by the way? Because if you're checking any of the other information out, you know my name's Brian, not Vincent. And while if you followed me enough, you might know that my son's name is Vincent, but this isn't for him. I literally forgot I was wearing it. So it just bumped against me. If you've seen, especially if you look at my older work, before I started trying to do these little things, and even this, it still has a lot of influence from him. Van Gogh is a huge influence of mine. And I got this hat at an art show. I think it was a portrait show. They did the Philadelphia Art Museum in like 2000, maybe 2001. I remember it's the day that my wife decided, like we were dating at the time still, but that's when she pretty much said, "I'm not going to museums with you, ever." But they had this in the gift shop, and I was just like, "Oh, I have to buy literally a hat that just says like, it's like a rock star, you know, like rock, you know, you go to buy a band T-shirt or whatever." And I have never met another person that has this hat. That's cool. What's really funny too is that because my wife decided she's not going to go to museums with me back then when we were dating, primarily because I'm very slow at museums. I take a lot of time, and especially if it's a Van Gogh show. Are you kidding me? I'll eat that shit up. But the thing was, that specific show, I had actually lost my voice. We went with a bunch of friends, and all my friends were like, you know, they wanted to hear what I was going to say about the Van Gogh show. Like, they literally insisted that we all go together, and I couldn't talk to anybody. I had to have another buddy of mine that I went to school with, who he's fairly familiar with my thoughts on art and you know, and the ideas I have behind aesthetics. And he, I had a little notepad like, you know, like that big or whatever, and I just wrote in like shorthand basic thoughts, and he would translate them. And I tried to explain to my wife later, once I got my voice back, like, if you thought this was bad, because I hurried up, because I was like, you know what, nobody can hear me, you know, I can't talk to anybody about it. I can't have all my normal reactions. Because the other downside when you go to a museum with me is you're probably going to have a security guard looking at you too, because they'll look at me most certainly. I have been yelled at every museum I've ever gone to about stepping too close. I'm surprised I didn't get kicked out of the National Gallery when they did Van Goghs. I like pulling this one out. I'll pull this from. Hold on. Let me find it. Right. Hold on. They were like a little traveling Van Gogh like exhibit. Wasn't like they did like a little like 3D design or 3D printed copies of his paintings. They had him come to the King of Prussia Mall, so I drug my wife and kids up there just so I could see him. Also, because they were 3D printed, like they were really good scans. They weren't perfect, but they were really good scans of them. So I was able, and you're allowed to touch them. So I was like, I touched them. Anyway, this one here is a pretty famous painting. It is. Down here, all along this area here, there's a very pale color, not this bluish color you can see. I'll try to bring it close. Like not the bluish color at the bottom. But there's also another pale color mixed in there. That looks white, and it's not. It's actually like a pale violet. And when we hit that painting, there were a couple other paintings, some views of trees and stuff that he has, like, you know, underbrush and all that. When we got to that painting specifically, though, literally, I see that violet. My buddy Bill and I went to it. And we drove. We didn't drive down. We went down on a train. It was like 4 a.m. We got down on a train to DC, because if you waited in line, you could get in like the first hour of the show. So we waited in line from like 6 in the morning or whatever till they opened up at 10:30. Well, they opened up at 10. We got 10:30 tickets, and we got to that painting, and I hit it, and I saw that violet color for the first time. I went, motherfucker! I mean, it wasn't quiet. It wasn't quiet there, and I mean, I saw a couple guards look at me a little funny, and certainly some of the older, wealthy white women around me that, like with the nice pearls and all that shit. They looked at me funny. Yeah. So I'm known for being, let's just say, a little passionate when it comes to art. We'll use that. I caused a lockdown at the Bellagio. That was fun. If you've ever been to Vegas, the Bellagio has an art gallery in it. And there's some pretty good, there's some good pieces in there. There was a Pollock that my mom and I were looking at. So I was just turned 21. My folks took us all out there. And the Bellagio visit was going to be the special visit for me because, it's got an art gallery. Right, I love it. So they took us there. Now, first off, the Van Gogh show that I was just talking about, they would sell, audio tours for like $5 or whatever. And they got to my buddy Bill, who had gone down with me, and she's like, audio tour, $5? And my buddy Bill goes, audio tour? Fuck that. I got my own, and it curses. And, so the Bellagio, they're free, though. And if you reject them, they don't know how to behave. The person's like, literally like, going down the line, audio tour. And they get to me, and they goes, audio tour, and I go, no, I'm good. And I sat there. Audio tour? Like, it's like that it's progressive, right? Where they come to the jungle and they're all speaking insurance, like they know how to speak. Yeah, it's like, audio tour. I'm like, nah, I'm cool. Nah. And they walk away like, what the fuck am I supposed to do now? So anyway, they, that's how it started. And then my mom and I are looking at this Jackson Pollock, and I'm pointing out like a little like moment, sort of the drizzles worked, colors played against each other. I guess my hand went over. They have laser guides, that if you get too close, lockdown. And so I apparently crossed that line, and lights start blinking, the little alarm goes off, and you hear my brother from across the fucking gallery. Where's Brian? I'm like, oh, fuck. Way to play it cool, Dave. Thanks. That was cool. Thanks. Once they realized there were no paintings that were taken off the wall, everything was cool. They didn't question me or anything like that, which is cool. They did make a little announcement. Please be careful about how close you know. So. Long story short, too late, I know. My wife is smart about not wanting to ever go to galleries with me. On a side note to the Bellagio piece, though, I'm going to point this out. Alright? I crossed the barrier, they put the shit in lockdown, and that painting was fucking a lot safer near me, apparently. Well, it wasn't this painting, but anyway, the paintings in that gallery are safer in my presence, apparently, than they were in Steve Wynn's presence, because the fucker put a hole through, I think, a Picasso. I'd have to check it up on it again to remember which painting it was, but like he was talking to somebody and had his glasses and he went punk. So, you know, Bellagio, you can send your apologies whenever you want. And all that being said, going back to the Van Goghs, I most certainly was trying to figure out a way I could have walked out with Crows in the Wheat Field, because it was the last painting in that gallery. And I was trying to figure out if there was a way I could just grab it and run, take it out the gallery before they'd shoot me. I could not figure out a way. This is cut out for 10:30, I think. One of these days I will make it over to the Netherlands just so I can see the Van Gogh Museum. It's on the bucket list. There's lots of places I'd like to see, but there's basically two that are like absolute must-see before I die things. One is I gotta get to Japan at some point. I want to see Fuji. Wanted to see that damn thing since I was like 7 years old. And then the other's the Van Gogh Museum. But the problem with the Van Gogh Museum, as I said, my wife won't go to these things with me. So it's like she's gonna have to find lots of other stuff to do with the kids in Amsterdam for a few days, because to put this in kind of perspectives, the Philadelphia Museum of Art I'm a member of as an artist membership, and even before they offered that, and before I became a member, I've been there so many damn times I've lost count. And no trip there that I've ever had has been less than, I'd say less than 3 hours. It's probably about the slowest or the quickest trip I've had. About 3 hours. So, and it's usually visiting things I've already seen 1,000 times, but it's like whatever. You know, I spend a lot of time in front of each painting. The Van Gogh exhibit down at DC, the Van Goghs. There were like 70 paintings, I think. 70 Van Goghs there. And they were mostly from the Van Gogh Museum. But my buddy and I went down on the train. Like I said, we got in the 10:30 show. We walked out of the gallery at, I think it was like 2:30, and we both came out of the gallery like we didn't spend enough time in there, so we made a plan. Like 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, we went down again. This time we decided not to do a 4 a.m. train. We waited till 6 a.m. Well, we still got in on the first round or whatever. Only it was much colder this time. It was cold the first time, but it was much colder this time. And we spent we brought another friend down with us this time. But we went down 10:30 again. We got in that show, and we stayed until about 1:30. And we're like, all right, I think in the total of about 7 hours, we did all right. I will recommend this, by the way, if anybody wants to try something fun. If you have not ridden Amtrak, now it's been a few years, admittedly. That was like 99 or no, that was 90, 98, 97, something like that. But when we went down to the 4 a.m. train, especially, the 6 a.m. train was pretty much the same results too, but I don't know what the fuck Amtrak's, either their coffee or their sugar was made out of, but we referred to it as Amcrack. Because now the night before we went down on the 4 a.m. train, my buddy Bill and I did the very intelligent thing, which was we stayed up till about 12:30ish or so playing on Comedy Central's old website, like an old South Park game, where you were supposed to, I think, feed cheesy poofs to the cat, or you had to get the cat to, I forget how it worked out exactly. Maybe you had to stop the cheesy poofs from getting to the cat. Whatever it was. Doesn't matter. But we stayed up till, like I said, about 12:30. And the train was at 4, so we had to get up at like 2. So we were on the train. Yeah, we gotta read the thing with it, And so we were like, all right, you know what? Let's just get some coffee. Now, at this time period in our lives, we regularly would go to Denny's every night after our band practice. And we'd sit there at Denny's and drink like 10 cups of coffee. They'd literally bring the pot out. They knew us, all the waitresses knew us. They'd bring the pot, leave it on the fucking table. And when that was empty, they'd bring another one. Alright? So we just kill coffee, and it was boom, boom, boom. And then we'd go home and go to sleep. So coffee had like no effect on us normally. But whatever the fuck Amtrak's mix their coffee with, I mean, as we put it, my buddy Bill and I both described it. We described it as Amcrack, and I was like, we were practically vibrating from it. Like, we were just like, oh my god, dude, like, fuck. I probably could have counted my pubic hairs before we got to DC. Like, it was just so fucking, like, jacked out. And, so I recommend Amtrak's coffee. If you ever get the chance to ride Amtrak, go for it. Drink their coffee in their dining car. That shit will fuck you up. I have to get Bill in here sometime. He's accompanied me once or twice on here. I gotta get him in here. He can corroborate all this stuff. Fuck Starbucks or any of that shit. Like, I'm telling you. Find out what Amcrack does. Now, if you're familiar with the Philly area at all, you'll know that Philly actually has a lot of mural art. But this right here is literally why I will never be selected for any of those mural arts like programs. I tried to paint like a building with this brush. Because it seems like the city will just basically give anybody. If you come to Philly and you're just like, hey, I want to paint a mural, they'll be cool. Pick a building, like, you know. It really seems that way sometimes. Like, this is like, go ahead. I'm actually like mildly surprised there's no gritty like mural yet. I won't lie, if you do stay tuned into this channel throughout this year, there's a very good shot that gritty will end up being painted at some point. It's just a matter of I have to take the photo. Like, I won't work off of like you know, stock photography or whatever, because there's all sorts of funky copyright laws with that I don't want to fuck with. Like, so I'll make sure when I'm at a Flyers game, I'll try to get a hold of get a shot of gritty, like a good shot, and with that face, that ugly, ugly face. I just love so much. I'm sure there's probably copyright laws and I'd be sort of violating by pinging him, but whatever. I could probably get the Fanatic to sit for me. I know his best friend. If you don't know who his best friend is, it's him. Anyway, see, again, to anybody new to this channel, and there's a lot of you, I'm sure. I used to work at the Phillies. The only reason I stopped working was because they moved my office for my main job. I can't make it to the games on time. But I did I guess about a 4-month stint. About 4 months, on the press elevator. So the Fanatic uses that quite often to get to where he needs to go. So I got to know him pretty well. What I kept secret from him, though, was who I'm related to. So my father worked at the Phillies, too. He actually just retired after this past year. He's worked there since '93. Now, my father was the guy for the longest time, I think from 2000, I think it was from 2000. Maybe started 2001. I think it was 2000. He was the guy that when you would go to the games, before the game, he was on top of the dugout, walking back and forth, you know. If a player was going to sign, you gave the ball to him, he'd give it to the player, they'd sign the ball, he'd give it back to my dad would give it to you. Okay. My dad was there 14 seasons on top of that dugout. And when he was at that stadium still, he was also, one of his roles as that position was to escort the Fanatic back out for the 7th inning dance. You know, the Fanatic dances, at the end of the 7th inning or whatever. And he comes out usually before the 7th and does his little voodoo stuff and what have you. So my dad got to know the Fanatic quite well. And even after he was no longer the escort, once they moved to Citizens Bank Park, he got a special person to escort him around. My dad just did the dugout still. When the Fanatic dance goes on, or when it did before he got off the dugout, his job was to stand at the bottom steps right in front of the dugout so no one would jump up on it. Right? And the Fanatic loved to come over. My dad used to wear his Phillies hat. And he had all the pins. Every year they give you a pin. And so he had his whole lanyard filled up. I mean, he'd been there forever. You know, and he had his whole hat full of pins. And I could come up and smack his hat against his head. So my dad had all these little pinholes. Alright. So I made sure that while I talked to Tommy quite a lot, Tommy did not know I was Bill's son. Because I didn't need that shit happening. You know. I love Tommy to death. Do not get me wrong. But the man is a few tacos short of a combo platter. And, I actually do need to talk one day to my old bosses down there and see if they can get me like a press pass or something. I've always wanted to do a series of paintings of the views of the ballpark that a fan doesn't get to see. And it's just weird little stuff. It's not like anything like wildly like, you know, like I'm not going to show you the Fanatic changing or any of that stuff. Or like we didn't have access to the players' rooms or anything like that. Don't think anything like that. But there were like little moments that there's like one spot I always liked because it was like kind of beautifully lonely, if that makes any sense. There's a security guard. If you go to Citizens Bank Park, the right field gate is usually where the Fanatic comes out with his ATV. If they do any parades, they come out to the right field fence. They walk around that thing, whatever, blah blah. Yeah, the grounds crew comes out from there, all that stuff. There's a security guard right behind that right field gate. He sits there the whole game. He's there the whole fucking time. And it's like he can't see the game. He's behind this wall that they, you know, it's a door or whatever that they opens up, but he can't see the game at all from there. He's got to watch it on a little piece of shit monitor. I mean, it's not a piece of shit, it's a nice monitor, but it's only about this big. All right, it's a real small screen, and it's way the fuck up there. And that's how he watches the game and finds out what inning they're in and when he's got to open the door and when he doesn't have to open the door. And it's like, and that's it. He can hear the crowd. I mean, not that the Phillies have a really roaring crowd much anymore, you know, the past few years. But when like we were selling out the ballpark every night, and you know, for 4 years in a row, whatever the fuck it was, 3.5, whatever. Like he could hear that crowd. You know, he could hear the screaming. He could hear everything that's happening out there. He could hear the home run go. He can't see any of it. I was like, that's so fucking sad but beautiful. Like, you know, it's like it was, and I'm not trying. I don't want to trivialize it or trivialize this, but like it's kind of like the guys that do like the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Like they do their fucking duty, man. They do it through fucking sleet, snow, rain, whatever the fuck. They come up and they do their walking in front of that. You know, it's like kind of like that. Like here's this guy who's like, I'm working for the Phillies. You know, I'm going to work for the Phillies. I'm going to get to watch the games for free. And it's like, he doesn't get to watch the games. He sits back there, you know? But he did his duty, man. It's the same guy every year. Like, every time I passed him, that's who was there. And it was like, I always wanted to do a painting of him. Just to be like, you know, you're kind of like you're a little hero, dude. You know, like, you got to sacrifice basically the coolest part of the job to do your job. And that you know, that's kind of, you know, very honorable. And you know, I don't know, it's just I always wanted to capture that moment. And like I like looking at the grounds crew. I'm a big fan of the painter Jean-Francois Millet. He did a lot of like workers in the fields, if you don't know who he is. Guys, you know, men and women bent over, scraping up shit off the ground, you know, the gleaners and stuff. And it's like, you know, the grounds crew are like that, man. They dress a little nicer, but they still got to beat their ass, or you know, their work is, again, kind of whatever the hell the weather is. They're out there. They're taking care of that field. They're doing, you know, that tarp looks fun to deal with in some senses, but that shit's heavy, you know. That shit's a mess sometimes to deal with. And so I always want to do stuff with the grounds crew, like get a shot of them. And there's little moments where like places where the employees walk where we can kind of see you guys, but you may not really see us. And you know, it's just kind of again like this strangely voyeuristic element to it, and I was like, oh, I want to get this. I'd love to show people these little moments, you know. Get the staff room, like where we go for our breaks, just like, yeah. Because that job, truth be told, I do it. If I could move my office, I get the fuck out of this job that I have. It's my main job. I'd go back there in a heartbeat, because the Phillies organization. You can complain about the management a little bit if you wanted to. It's not. I mean, there's people do and they don't. But the people you work with, the hosts that you do, you know, hosts and security guards and stuff. I mean, they're family, dude. They really are. I'm still, even though I haven't worked there now in 2 seasons. This will be my 3rd now. I won't be there. Like I still try to find out what's happening to people. Like a few friends that I have on Facebook and those that aren't on there, I'm asking about all the time. On a sad note, I've been to a bunch of their funerals because a lot of the guys that work there, there's a lot of guys that are on the older side of things. It's like, you know, and if you go to those funerals and stuff, like if you go to a Phillies post funeral, you'll find people that are still working at the ballpark, people that haven't worked at the ballpark for 10 years. We show up, man. It's Phillies family, man. And yeah. And I'll leave with this note because it's kind of funny. We actually were at a funeral once, a couple years back. A guy named John was the nicest guy. John had a story for everything, kind of like me right now, I guess. But I have to have alcohol to get going. John died of some lung issues he had. Go to the funeral, you know, or the viewing and everything. And it's me, my dad, a guy named Sean, and another guy, John Kreco, is there. Kreco's on much older side too. We go to Kreco's bar, which is like it's not his bar, but it's like a bar he went to regularly. Which is like right around the corner from the funeral home. And we all go in there, and everyone, John, you know, and we tell him why we're all there, and so yeah. And we'll get some drinks. And John holds up his drink. And he goes, here's to you, you know, we're going to miss you, you know, but we'll see you soon. I'm like, yo, Kreco, you may. I'd like to hold off a little bit till I see him again. Just saying. I'd like to give it a few years. So, anyway, guys, from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys all who've been joining me tonight. NetDev, thank you so much. It really means a fuck ton to me. You know, I'm pushing it out at this point to just get that affiliate tag. Just to feel like I did something on here. You know, and it's huge. If anybody's in here in the Philly region, or if you can drive here from like New York, Maryland, you know. I could make it from Boston if you needed to. You want to kill 3 hours? Come down to 253 North 3rd Street in Philly on Saturday from 6 to 9 p.m. I'll be hanging out there with the Philly Art Collective, and you know, be cool to meet. So, anyway, guys, NetDev, I'll be as soon as I get everything like cleaned up because I'm a little messy. For some reason, when I play with Browns, I get really shitty, like really messy. And then it looks like I shit myself later on. Like, you know. Anyway. So once I get cleaned up, I'll send you a message on it. Alright, guys. Thank you very much. I'll catch you next stream Sunday night. If he's playing marbles, play the marbles and come afterwards. It's 7:30 to 10 on Sunday. So, catch you later, guys.